About 5 years ago, I bought myself a camper van, and at the time I convinced myself that one of the reasons for buying it was because I was going to take a day or two every month to go out and do some photographs and some time lapses just for myself. Fast forward 5 years and I've actually only really done that twice. The first time was a complete disaster, and my friend Dave from Global Traces, who was with me at the time in his van, will have several stories to tell about how I had no heating in the van. I had a sleeping bag that was wholly inadequate. I hadn't charged the leisure battery, and so within 10 minutes of turning the lights on when it went dark, all the lights went out, so I was in complete darkness. Fast forward 5 years and I have solar power, so I have the electricity sorted out and I have heating installed, so that's not a problem anymore. But the problem with being a working photographer and videographer, wannabe filmmaker, is that the working life gets in the way, and it becomes really difficult to find time for the important relationships in your life, let alone finding time for yourself to try and re-energize your creativity. That said, here I am several years later with a relatively free August, and so I finally decided to try and find some time for me down here in Dorset. I've parked up on a campsite just up the hill from a section of Chesil Beach, which is where I am now, and I'm going to spend this afternoon down at Old Harry's Rocks and this evening at Portland Bill, hopefully trying to catch some type of sunrise. But I think the important thing is I've actually gotten off my backside and found some time and booked some time in the diary to come and do something that is just for me. And I think that's really important in this busy life, these busy lives that we all lead, where we're just running from one thing to another to another. So yeah, let's pack up, let's go up to Old Harry's Rocks and see what we can see up there. It's always good to have a National Trust membership, because I'm parked up in the National Trust car park, which is the base of the walk up to Old Harry Rocks. It's about a mile walk along this path, and I've never been here before, and I have no idea, well, I have a little bit of an idea of what to expect at the end, because I've had a look in the photography book. So I'm gonna mooch on down and see what I can find, and then yeah, meet you down there. See you in a bit. I've made it out here to Old Harry Rocks. The hike was quite hectic because it was quite hot as the sun was beating down, and there were lots of people to race past. But now I'm here, you can see the sun has disappeared. My camera is all set up, and I'm doing a long exposure of 10 minutes and 55 seconds. I've got a Lee little stopper and a Lee big stopper on there, which are two neutral density filters, one with 6 stops and one with 10 stops of blockage, so 16 stops of light blocked out, and that takes my my shutter speed of 1/100th of a second at f11 ISO 100 and turns that into 10 minutes and 55 seconds of exposure. The light has changed quite a bit from when I set that up. In fact, almost as soon as I set that up, the light disappeared. So we'll see whether or not 10 minutes and 55 seconds is enough. I'm going for black and white because it's quite a moody afternoon. And yeah, I'm just sitting and chilling. I'm going to eat a power bar now and see what my shot looks like at the end of it. So it's all change. I finished that last shot and it came out ever so slightly too dark because the clouds were out, the sun was in, and it was all just a little bit too moody. I could have brought it up in post-production and made it a little bit lighter, but I do like to try and get things right in camera. So I recalculated and was going for 18 minutes this time instead of 10 minutes and 55 seconds. And now the sun has come out, and if you have a look, the rocks themselves have got quite a bit of light on them. So I'm probably going to go for 10 minutes and 55 seconds again and hope that it balances out. Sometimes it's a little bit of a guessing game when the light is in and out. So if we have a look on top of camera, it's just about getting to that time. So I'll stop it at 10:55 and we'll see what I've got this time round. Yes, I'm quite pleased with that. That little bit of light across the rocks, casting a bit of a shadow underneath because of the rocks that are on the left-hand side, has done the job quite nicely. I'm going to go and have a look over the other side now, because if I take you over there with me, there's another set of rocks over there which look quite nice. The only thing I've got to take care of is the fact that the sun is up there, and sometimes when you've got filters on the front of your camera, the sun tends to cause a glare because it creeps in at the sides and casts all kind of funny spangly lights and stuff. So I'm going to give it a go over this side because I quite like the look this side round, and yeah, we'll see what we get. Well, that is that. I'm almost out of battery on my 360 camera that I've been doing all the filming on today. So this may well be the last thing that I say today. The two different viewpoints over at Old Harry Rocks were pretty spectacular. The second one ended up being pretty much the same 11 minutes as the first one because the light was pretty much the same. And I did end up having to stand to the side of the camera just to block the light from shining in between those filters that I had mounted on the front of the lens, and that seemed to do the trick, although it's very difficult when you're only looking through the viewfinder of the camera. So I'll be able to see whether or not that worked when I get home and get into post-production. It is now 20 to 7 and I was going to drive all the way over to Portland Bill, but that would take me to probably another 15 minutes to get back to the car park. That'll take me to about 8 o'clock, 10 past 8, and golden hour starts at 5 past 8, and I don't even know where I'm going when I get there. So it might be that today is not quite the right day to go to Portland Bill because I'll probably miss the best of the light. So I'm considering, because I'm only 10 minutes around the corner, going to Swanage instead, because I know there's an old disused pier there, all crumbled, and you've only got legs standing out of the sea. But I haven't checked the tide times, so I don't even know whether the sea is in or out. Given that it's 6:30, 6:45, I might give that a go. I'll just see what we've got there, and maybe or maybe not, I'll see you again later this evening. All right, see you soon. I made it to Swanage. I don't know why I thought that the 360 running out of battery was going to be the last thing I'd be able to record today, because of course I've got my iPhone with me. So yeah, I came down to Swanage. I'm just at the end of the pier, and in the background there you can see part of what I think is the old pier, and I'm running a long exposure on that as well. All of these things, all of the places I visited today are from the Photographing Dorset book, which I will link in the description down below. A fantastic series of books by PhotoView. I've got the Scotland one and the East Anglia one, I think. Yeah, and the Dorset one is equally as good. It's not quite as big as the Scotland and the East Anglia one. Maybe because there aren't as many things to photograph around here, who knows. But anyway, I'm running an 18-minute exposure on the pier in the background here. I've got a 0.6, which is a 2-stop hard grad, just to balance the sky and bring the exposure of the sky down to match the exposure of the sea. And then I've got, again, my little stopper and my big stopper. So that's 16 stops of neutral density, and that takes my shutter speed of, I think it was a 60th of a second, to 18 minutes to expose the frame correctly. I think I've calculated that correctly. This isn't my forte, so I'm kind of learning as I'm going, really. I'm going to let this exposure run and then see what it looks like at the end, and then I'm going to go and grab some fish and chips. I'll see you later. So that is me finishing the day with a cracking portion of fish and chips. What a better way to end the day. I'm going to sit here in the camper, watch the sun go down, finish my fish and chips, and then try and make it back to the campsite before they close the gates.